my name is Shelby Sewell. I'm with the Coffeyville Police Department, and we are here to talk about Neighborhood Watch. This is actually going to be 1 year since we started our Neighborhood Watch program in Coffeyville. October is when we started last year, so we're really putting forth some effort here. I'm really proud to see that we have some people who come every meeting, and you guys are what's helping bring our burglary stats down. We do have a guest speaker before I talk over identity theft, and this is Doug Munn. He's going to talk about his WatchGuard group. Watchdog group, yes. WatchGuard, that's our family system.
My name is Doug Munn. I'm the pastor at Grace Fellowship Church, and it's great to speak with you all here today and you on the camera. I am with the Watchdogs at Coffeyville Community Elementary School, CE, and I have some brochures here that I guess I'll leave with you for whoever comes later and wants to get those. The Watchdog stands for Dads of Great Students. And what we do we are a male presence in community elementary. There's two primary goals for the Watchdog program. First, to provide a positive male role model for the students, demonstrating by our presence there that education is important. And it's also to provide an extra set of eyes and ears to enhance school security and reduce bullying. Now, the Watchdog program began in 1998 in a single school in Springdale, Arkansas, and has since grown into a nationally recognized program that has brought hundreds of thousands of fathers and father figures into the school classrooms and hallways across the country, creating millions of hours of in-school volunteer time and having a tremendous impact on the educational process. Some benefits: students gain positive male role models, just seeing us there, interacting with us. The school gains an extra set of eyes and ears. The presence of a father or father figure will provide an additional deterrent to bullying, enhance a sense of security in the building, and will help create an environment conducive to learning. Because if the children feel safe, they are more likely to be able to learn. Father figures also then get a glimpse into their students' everyday world and learn about the increasingly complex challenge and decisions today's youth are facing, even in our kindergarten through 6th grade. As a result, they can hopefully learn to relate better to their students and hopefully connect with their own sons or daughters. Fathers gain a greater awareness of the positive impact that they can have on their own students' life in 3 critical areas. Of course, academic performance, self-esteem, and social behavior. Now, oftentimes, due to budget shortfalls and cutbacks, teachers are presented with larger classrooms each year, and the Watchdog volunteer program provides real and important help for teachers and the students. Watchdogs, Dads of Great Students, is for any father figures. If you are an uncle, a big brother, if you are a significant male in a student's life at Community Elementary, this is a great program for you. What you'll do when you come there is you will get your Watchdog t-shirt, and we ask you to wear that throughout the day. And if it's a cool day, and let's say you have a sweatshirt on, we would ask the father to wear that over their coat so that students know who they are, because they appreciate seeing you there, and that also helps school security because we don't want somebody unknown walking around. So you wear that, and we will give you a list of where to go to, which classes. For instance, last year I had a 1st grader and a 6th grader. So in the morning I spent a good part of my day with the 1st graders, and in the afternoon I spent a good part of my day with the 6th graders. The year before I spent kindergarten, some with the 5th, and with some 2nd and 3rd graders. So what do? Well, first of all, let me warn you, a good set of knees is beneficial. It's not required, but it will help, because you'll be kneeling down, you'll be bending over. The kids are going to want to give you a high five, they're going to play with you, they're going to want to hold your hand. In fact, they will fight to hold your hand. When you go into the hallway, they're going to crowd around you, and they're saying, straight line, straight line, straight line, but all the kids get in a circle around you because they want to hold your hand, they want to walk with you. And you can really tell with some of the kids which ones come from homes where there's no father or no father figure. They really latch on to you. So you go out at recess and you get to play tag. You get to play goose, goose, duck, duck, or is it duck, duck, goose, goose? I don't know. I'm not even that good at the rules. And, I'm sure, they can't catch me, but I think Shelby and Tony, they could catch. But, I get winded out there playing tag with those kids. I break into a good hard sweat. You get to go over letters and numbers with them. You get to help them read or read books to them. They want to sit by you. They want to read a book to you. They want you to read to them. They want to hold your hand. They want to just be with you. So it's a great day. I often joke, if you want to feel like a king or a god for the day, this is the program for you. Because those kids will love your presence. And when you come back later for something else to drop your kids off, they point at you. There's the watchdog. So what we try to do is have a kickoff each fall, and we had one this last Tuesday. Have a sign up. Even though you missed the kickoff, you can still call the school and sign up. You can call and ask for Cheryl White at CE. That's 252-6430, 252-6430 at extension 12001. Just get the first part done and ask for Cheryl and you're okay, because that is one long extension. So you go in there, you spend the day with them, you wear your t-shirt, you play with them, you read with them. People like me try to do math with them. You know, I can do math with the kindergartners, but boy, by 6th grade, you know, they're kind of surpassed my level of expertise. And one of the things is, when you're there, you try to act appropriate, you try to be a role model, but you try to be one of them. We'll try to have at least one watchdog every day. Sometimes, because the sign-up, 2 fathers might be there in the same day, and that maybe means there's none on Tuesday. I believe last year we were able to fill up most of the fall, and then in the second half of the year, not quite as much. I'm not sure where we're at with sign-up right now, so you can call Cheryl, get signed up, they'll do the background checks on you, and you're good to go. And you can do it more than once, or if you have to do it a half a day, they can work around that with you. If there's, let's say you have one child, but you have some relatives in another class, you can ask for that and go in there. And I think this program is important. Now, I have a good schedule that allows me to get off and go do that. Yes, I have to pay the price. I go in early, or I go in late that day, or I'll work an extra day. But when I lived in Dallas and did this program, I was what you'd call a contract employee. That means I worked for an employer, and as long as I worked and did certain jobs, I got paid. And that meant if I didn't do these jobs, I didn't get paid. Because I just did the jobs that I did, and they paid me specifically for those jobs. So that means if I didn't work, I didn't get paid. I still found this program, I believe, to be so important that I would take days off, lose my income for that day, days I couldn't make up. I did it in the fall and I did it in the spring because I believe this program is important. So if your employers out there, if you're willing to maybe give your employees a half day off to support this program, we'd love for you to do that. If you would like me to come and speak at your place in employment about this program and hand out some brochures, I would love to do that, because we need fathers, uncles, grandfathers, father figures for our kids in our schools. I believe this program is important. It's worth taking off my own personal time. It's worth the sacrifice, and I hope we get more men in our community demonstrating that they are dads of great students. So, does anybody have any questions? The best sermon you heard all week, right? So, I'd like to thank Shelby and Tony for inviting me to this. This is the 3rd year at Community Elementary, and we hope to get more and more participation and just hope the program grows. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Scott.
I'm kind of jealous I can't do it now, so. Thank you, Doug. I appreciate you coming up and talking to us. Just remember, this is going to be on podcast later on the Coffeyville Police Department Facebook page. So if you missed the phone number when he was giving it to you on Channel 13, you can always go back on Facebook and review it there. First off, I wanted to touch on the burglary map, which is also on Facebook. We had an excellent month this month. We had our burglaries cut down in about half. We only had 10 this month, and they were, I believe, 4 and 5, what was it, 4 and 6 residentials and 4 vehicle burglaries this month. I strongly believe that the reason our burglaries are going down is the Neighborhood Watch program. We have gotten more and more vehicle burglaries in progress and more burglaries in progress called in the last couple of months, and I believe that this is causing us to be able to get out there, catch these guys in progress, and get them off the street. So I do want to thank you guys. You're out there, you're looking out your windows, you're calling in suspicious activity, and this is exactly what Neighborhood Watch is. So I want to continue seeing our burglaries go down. Next month, I want to see 0. So good job, guys. And next, I'm going to move on to identity theft, which is going to be my topic for this night's meeting. Identity theft is a complicated and hard crime to deal with. When you're the victim of it, it is just so difficult. It is so hard to finally get this off your record, and people, they hear about it, but they're not really sure what it is. Identity theft occurs when someone uses another person's identifying information without their permission in order to access resources, obtain credit, or to commit fraud or gain other benefits in that person's name. So what that means is they could steal your name, your social security number, your birth date, birth certificates, anything like that. And that's identity theft. So they use your information in order to gain some sort of benefit. So that could be a credit card. Actually, the number one thing identity theft is used for is to access credit card accounts. So this is why you shred your statements and you try to make sure you do protect your identity, because they're opening accounts under your name. Also, they open up bank accounts, they get insurance, they open up internet, the telephone accounts, they get loans for cars and house loans under your name. So when they don't make the payments, who does that come back to? It comes back to you. So credit identity theft makes up for more than 50% of all types of identity theft, which is pretty much what they're going for. So financial identity theft, there are several types of identity theft. And like I said, the number one is financial identity theft. When we hear the words identity theft, this is usually what we're thinking of. But there's much more. There's many other kinds. We do have some cadets in the audience tonight, some younger kids. One of the more common ones that you're starting to see, and is more and more prevalent, is child identity theft. This is commonly done by a family member. What happens is, say, mom and dad get divorced. Dad moves to Virginia, but he still knows his kids' identifying information, like their birthdays, their social security numbers. Well, he goes broke. So he starts opening credit lines in his son's name. And son's 8 years old. He's not gonna check his credit for another 10 years. So this is, it's a really popular with family members like that, because an 8-year-old doesn't check their credit. And it's also less likely that a family member is gonna press charges against somebody who, they are family. There's a picture on this, and it says, I owe $40,000 in debt, tomorrow I'll be 4. And this is something that you see. Other things are criminal identity theft. This means I'm driving down the street, I decide to rob a bank. When the officer stopped me, I give my sister's name because I'm so close with her, I happen to know all of her information. Driver's license identity theft is very similar. It's when police officer stops somebody and they don't have a driver's license on them, and I give my sister's name and information when they run it, so my sister can't figure out how come she keeps getting tickets on her record when she doesn't speed, kind of thing. This is also commonly used for underage drinking. Also, something that's more and more common, particularly for elderly people, is insurance and medical identity theft. This is not as common as the other ones, however, it is becoming more and more popular. It's the use of Medicare or Medicaid to get medications. So we've actually had this in Coffeyville. I worked a case last year where they were charging prescriptions, one prescription, but they were charging it to several different people and ordering it under their name through their Medicare or Medicaid. So they had probably 6 or 7 people that they were ordering the same prescription under, and some dead people that weren't even there anymore that they were ordering prescriptions through Medicaid on still. So it's becoming more common, and it is something that I have seen even locally. So how do these thieves actually get this information? Does anybody have any guesses? In the trash can? Yeah, I would say trash is one of your more common ways. When you put your trash out on the roadside, it becomes public property. So if you're putting credit card statements, even if it's like you've been pre-approved statement that you don't ever even open or look at because you don't want a credit card, you got to shred that, because that is how they're getting that information. They just call up that number and say, yeah, hey, I got this pre-approval application, and put in for it, and suddenly they got a credit card in your name. There are several other ways that people do get this information, though. They pretend to be a medical company. A scam that we are seeing in town, and we've gotten several calls on, is Medicare is calling people. And it's not Medicare, it's a scam artist. But they're calling people and they're saying, hey, this is Medicaid and I want to send you a new card. But before I can send you a new card, I need you to verify your social security number. They'll already have like your name, and they might even have your date of birth, but they're asking for your social security card. That is a scam. If they are calling you and they are asking you for information, they are initiating the contact. 99% of the time, that is going to be a scam. So they're acting like they're working for medical offices. They're acting like they're working for clinics or pharmacies. Another scam that we saw that was kind of common, and it wasn't a Medicare scam, but it was a fraudulent money scam, is they were calling and they were saying that they were a great-granddaughter. Great-granddaughter apparently goes to France, and they call grandma and they say, Grandma, I've gone to France and I was at a wedding, and when I left this wedding, I got in a drunk driving accident and I am too embarrassed to talk to my parents. Can you send me bail money? Can you Western Union it? If somebody is asking you to Western Union money, that is a scam. And if you don't know or recognize that person's voice, you know who your grandkids are. You know where your grandkids are most of the time. So you don't have some long lost illegitimate nephew who's going to be calling you for money, because people aren't like that. So that was a scam that we saw last year, and we actually had somebody send over $3,000 to somebody. So that's a scam. So they pretend to be somebody. They pretend to be work or something like that. Another thing that we see, thankfully not so often, is a thing called a skimmer. What this is a computer thing that they attach to the swipe mechanisms on like ATMs or gas station pumps. And there's some pictures on this, and later if you guys want to jump on Facebook, I will have this posted on the Coffeyville webpage so that you can access this PowerPoint. But basically what it is it looks like the picture of how you're supposed to put your card into the machine. So the way you prevent getting a skim done on your credit card or your debit card, use ATMs that you're familiar with. If you're a Bank of America customer, always use the same Bank of America ATM. That way when you drive up to the ATM, you can tell if there's this device on it. I actually went and spoke with the Senior Citizen Center last week, and they were telling me a guy there had actually gone down to Bartlesville, and he had this happen to him where he had swiped his card at a gas station. Way to prevent that is you go inside, you pay inside instead of using their outside machine. He said that he swiped his card, and then he went inside to pay for something else, and the guy said, wait a minute, did you just buy 2 tanks of gas? And no. He said, well, that guy over there just used your credit card information, so they happened to be able to catch the guy. So this is stuff that is around here, and this is real world stuff that is very high tech. So try to be familiar with your surroundings, know what your ATM looks like, use the same gas stations, use places that you're familiar with so that you know what things are supposed to look like. And the next big one that people get your information from is phishing. Do you guys know what phishing is? This is where they send you an email, and it might look official looking, and it might be you have won the lotto in Africa, or some foreign prince wants to send you $1 million, and all you have to do is send him the shipping fee. Or people fall for this. I don't know how. You think that people have common sense, but sometimes they just fall for this stuff. So, and it could be something like really, really official looking. How many of you guys eBay? Yeah, my mom is an eBay fanatic. She gets on eBay, she buys something once a day. So when she sees in her junk mail filter eBay saying you need to make a payment, she's going to look at that because she's always on eBay or PayPal or some program like that. Once again, if they're contacting you, don't go through that website. If you get an official looking company like eBay, I use this because this is something that I've seen, go to their website directly. If it says you have an overdue balance, need to make a payment now, don't click on the links. Go to the actual website and see if you can't locate it from there. And you might go to that website, you don't know anything, and it just happens to be a scam, and they want you to put in your password and your information so they have access to it. And a way to try to circumnavigate this is when you're looking on a website, in the very top part, it's going to have your www dot whatever. Make sure you're on a secured website. So it's going to say HTTP ... Well, a secured website's going to say HTTPS. That way you're on a certified secured website. You'll also, when you highlight the links on your email, it's going to have something down at the bottom. Before you ever click on it, you just run your mouse over the link. Sometimes at the bottom, it's going to have the address where it's going to send you to. It won't be eBay. It won't be wherever. It won't be your, for the gamers like me, it won't be your World of Warcraft site. It's going to be wherever their mock site is. And it may look very genuine even if you click on it. So just go to the website on your own without clicking on the links. And they don't happen just online. Another phishing scam is, once again, people call and ask you for additional information on the phone. If they're contacting you, it's probably a scam. If you need information, if you need a new Social Security card, you call them. If you need a new Medicare card, you call them. If you need a new birth certificate, you call them. There's no reason that the government should be contacting you for anything like that. One more thing about phishing scams is that they do spoof MySpace and Facebook and World of Warcraft and these Age of Conan and these gaming sites that people my age get on. So both of these sites have increased security and will give you a warning when you click on a link that will take you away from their site, and it's important that you pay attention to those warnings. So if you're on Facebook and it says, warning, you're leaving Facebook's website, I wouldn't go to that site. Another way, and this is pretty high-tech stuff right here, is spyware. You go online and you're playing Farmville. You're on Facebook and you like playing Farmville, and the way that you play Farmville is you have a Snagit bar. And Snagit is this toolbar that you download off the internet, and it grabs the chickens that you want on your farm. My mom has this stuff, okay? I've seen it. Basically, Snagit is a virus feeding frenzy. What it does is actually snap viruses for your computer. It also gets her toys, but it's bad. I keep telling her it's bad. So when she downloads this toolbar, it also downloaded spyware, and it's like a cookie on your computer, and it snapshots stuff in your computer, and it gets in your computer, and it's a virus. You don't want it on your computer. It'll be distributed via email attachments or web links or music or video downloads, and it can exploit all sorts of things on your computer. So moral of the story is don't download anything on the internet. Don't do it. So thieves can access anything you do online, including your usernames, passwords, online shopping purchases, email addresses. So be very, very careful when you're downloading stuff. And lastly, good old-fashioned theft. We do have burglaries in Coffeyville. We're trying to prevent those. One of the things they do with stuff when they do steal them is they use it for identity theft. They use that ID that they got out of the car to go underage drinking or to purchase alcohol or something of that nature. So if you do happen to be a victim of burglary, first thing you need to do, cancel all your cards. That's the first thing you got to do, because that's very common is they'll go run up a $800 bill at Walmart. So how do you prevent identity theft? Does anybody, what steps do you guys take for identity theft prevention? LifeLock, that's a very good thing. LifeLock is, when programs like that are more and more common, and they're an excellent tool for citizens. Did anybody else have something?
I have a program through my bank that contacts me when there's any activity
And
or any account that I have.
we have some great local banks that have excellent fraud detection. Community State Bank happens to be my bank, and they a couple of years ago they got hacked, and they handled it very well. They went through, they had fraud detection, they saw what was happening, they stopped it so that their customers didn't suffer, and that is most banks have that anymore.
I think mine's called Privacy Assist.
Privacy Assist? Okay.
And it just lets you know when there's been anybody even inquiring about you.
Like
Anything.
another common program that people are using more and more is Credit Karma. This is the program that I use. It's a free website, and it's actually one of the, I believe TransUnion actually sponsors this site, and it shows you, that's exactly what it does. It shows you when you have inquiries on your credit, gives you an estimate of what your credit history is supposed to be. If accounts are open, it'll show you, and I know that these programs like LifeLock and that are just like that.
We had a situation one time too where the bank actually called and wanted to know if we had made a purchase at 3 a.m. in the morning on our credit card.
Yeah.
And it turned out it looked out and China was going back home. And she got into her account.
Well,
And
see, so your bank's doing what they're supposed to do. That's good. And that is a prime example of identity theft right there. So does anybody else have any suggestions or examples of how they? Well, there's a few ways that you can prevent identity theft. And there's simple things that people just don't always think about. When you're carrying your wallet, there's a lot of ladies here tonight, so they have purses. And they're the nice shoplifter purses, you know, the big ones that you can put a whole football field into. Okay. You probably carry everything in that. Hairbrushes, wallets, whatever. What you shouldn't carry in a purse like that is your social security card, your birth certificate, your car titles. These are things that I have actually seen stolen out of people's wallets. I'll have college kids are the worst at this. They'll come into the station and they'll say, hey, I need a report that I dropped my wallet. Okay, what was in it? Well, my social security card, my ID card, my birth certificate, my class schedule, and oh yeah, my spare car key. Why do you have all of that stuff in your wallet? You know, I get that they're coming to classes and that they need that stuff, but you need to put that in a secured location in your house. And if you're at a place like college that you can't put it in a secured location, get a lockbox at the bank or something that you can keep it in a secured location, that you're not worried about your roommate taking it or dropping it on campus or something like that. Secure your personal information in a locking file cabinet, and not something that can be picked up and carried off. Sometimes we work, you know, some burglaries, okay? And people will say, well, I had my gun in a gun safe, but they took the whole gun safe. So lock these things down, bolt them to the stud in the wall or something like that, so they can't just take the whole filing cabinet, okay? So another way to prevent it is check your mail. If you're expecting a bank statement to come in, if you're expecting a brand new credit card, if you're expecting bills, and they're not showing up, and you go 6 months without checking on why your bill never shows up, probably something wrong there. Scam artists know what they do is they submit an address change for you. And suddenly all your bills and your pre-approved credit cards and all that stuff is going to their address and not yours. So when you're going on vacation, put a hold on your mail so that you don't get a whole pile of it. That includes newspapers. People don't think about newspapers. You know, they go out of town, they might stop their mail for a little while, but then they got 15 newspapers in their front yard. Okay, you got to make sure that you stop everything. Another way is to have a secure mailbox. I Googled this to see how much these are. They're a little bit expensive. They're like $50 to $100, $150, but they are probably worth it. This makes, basically what it is, it's like a Dropbox, just like if you're gonna go to UPS and you drop it in their Dropbox. You can put it in there, but you can't take anything out unless you have a key. So that's a secure mailbox is a great way to prevent that. Also, shredders. Shredders are your gift. Everybody should have a shredder. And not just any shredder, because a regular shredder just puts it in long lines. So I like puzzles, so it takes me just a little bit to put all those lines back together, and I can tape them and I can read that stuff. So you get a crosshair shredder, which turns it into confetti. So they're little tiny pieces, and I don't care how good you are at puzzles, you can't put that back together again. So if worse comes to worse, and you actually have your identity stolen, or you get woke up at 3 o'clock in the morning and somebody's used your credit card to buy a flight to China, what do? Well, you contact us. You contact the fraud department and you cancel cards. First thing you should really do is contact the fraud department of any one of the 3 major credit bureaus to place a fraud alert on your credit card. It doesn't matter which one you apply for, because say you go to TransUnion and you put a fraud alert on your account, it's automatically going to go to the other two. So anytime somebody tries to do any credit lines on your account after that, they have to contact you. When you come down to the police department to make the report, we're going to give you this whole packet of paperwork, and it's like 7 pages long, and there's all sorts of information on it. We're going to fingerprint you, we're going to take a picture of you, and we're going to give you a secret password. And when you run your credit, they're going to call you, and you have to give them that secret password, or they're not going to let you have your credit line. So make sure it's something you remember, because this is how it's going to work for you. We actually recently had dealings with a guy, and he was carrying around a 3-ring binder because he had his identity stolen, and the person who stole his identity went and committed a bunch of felonies in a couple of different states. So he was carrying around this 3-ring binder. No, that is not me. Here is why. And we contacted the agency, and they confirmed that, yeah, we've encountered him before, and it is who he's saying he is, but we can't pull the warrants because this is who they said they were. So it's really, really difficult to handle identity theft, which is why you should take great measures preventing it. If your identity has been stolen, you should close any accounts that you know or believe have been tampered with or openly fraudulent. So if they spelled your name wrong when they opened the account in Tahiti, you should probably close that account. Or they used the wrong middle name, or we actually had a circumstance where they spelled the girl's name differently every time, and it was a man, and the name was Destiny. Not really sure why credit agencies didn't notice it was a man and the name was Destiny. That's kind of odd, but and the name was spelled differently every time he wrote it down. File a police report. Get a copy of that report to submit to those creditors, so that, like I said, they're going to require proof of the crime. And fill out that identity theft packet, which will be a handful for you. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, ma'am. Because say they did use your information in the commission of a crime, when we arrest somebody, the first thing we do is fingerprint them, so it's proof that you aren't that person. Just like with the picture, because you might be, an older white lady, and they're an older black lady. Picture proof's different. Do you have any other questions?
I do. I have another.
I am happy to answer.
I carry around my Medicare card because if I'm in an accident or I get sick, or that's a needed thing if I have
Yeah.
healthcare needs. I worry sometimes because of the information that's on it. So do you have suggestions?
We talked about this at the senior citizens meeting that I was in, and somebody suggested he basically carries 2 wallets. He carries his main wallet, and then he carries a little flip-out wallet. And the flip-out wallet's got a couple of, dollars cash and his ID on it. And the main wallet was something that he could secure in his glove box when he got out of the car or something. So I recommend that. If you have your essentials that you need with you, you're going into the store, you're going to go buy bananas, you take your credit card and your ID card and your little wallet, and you don't take your purse in there that you've got all the important information in. However, don't leave your purse in plain sight in your car. Put it in the glove box where it can be secured, or at least in the trunk, or under the seat where people can't see it, because that's most crimes like that are crimes of opportunity. Also, something we saw last year, do not leave your purse in your shopping cart. We had a lady, she left her purse in the shopping cart, walked over here, turned around, and it was gone. And I mean, it was literally 3 steps that way. Somebody just walked by and snatched it. So you don't need that stuff in there with you. Take the essential items that you need to go into the store with. Anybody else have any questions? These are great questions, so.
It's not about this, but I was wondering about the break-ins, just with people at home invasions. Do we have any of those things going on?
We have burglaries where sometimes the people are accidentally home. Like, they don't expect them to be, and they walk in, they get scared, and they run back out. We haven't had too much other than that, and I think that I can only tell you of one instance of where that happened that I'm aware of recently. So basically, criminals don't want to get caught, so they're not going to try to get caught, and so they wait for people to go to work, and they watch houses, and they see their patterns, and then when they go to work, that's when they go in the house. So if you know, your husband's sick that day, they're not expecting that. So,
I've just heard a lot of what they call home invasions, and they don't care if people's there.
yeah,
And they go in, and it's, I think this has been, happening to elderly people. I mean, you know, and they actually do come in and hurt them and just.
if you've been watching the news, Greenwood County had something similar to this yesterday. It does happen. Thankfully, we don't have that going on that I'm aware of. Secure your house, lock your doors even when you're home. We do, there's a double negative. We do home security checks, so if you want us to come over to the house and do a walkthrough with you, we can talk about what security measures you need to take to make your home more secure. You know, what are the better locks to have on your house? If you have landscaping that's covering your windows, we don't like that. We want to be able to see your windows. We want to be able to have nice lighting, and criminals don't like the light. So lots of lighting, and big dogs. It's the best security system you can have. So, any other questions?
Outdoor lighting,
Mhm.
there's a lot of that, solar lighting,
Solar,
motion detectors.
I love motion detectors. I love floodlights and I love motion detectors unless they're my neighbors and point it right at my window. Motion detectors are really great because what are they telling you? Somebody's out there. It could be a cat, it could be the tree crossing over it, but I'd rather be safe than sorry. Motion detectors are great. My brother happens to be real fond of the solar lights, and he has lined his fence line and things like that. Well, if you happen to be peeking out your window and suddenly your solar lights are blinking out, you know somebody's walking by him. So any lighting is better than no lighting, and it's kind of safer for you. You know where your steps are, you know where your walkway is. So I like solar lighting. I think they're really classy looking too, so. Any other questions? Well, if you guys do want a home security check, feel free to contact the police department. We'll have an officer come out and they can just do a walkthrough with you guys. And if you have any more questions on identity theft, say I didn't answer it here, feel free to log on Facebook. You can send me a message or post it on the wall. Because if you have a question that wasn't answered, somebody else has that same question. I'm going to go ahead and, do you have anything to add, Chief? All right, I'm going to go ahead and conclude this meeting. Thank you guys for coming out. I appreciate seeing you here.